What's good, BP fam? So today's video, we're gonna be talking about what's good, BP fam? So today's video, I'm gonna be talking to you guys about how I became hard of hearing, deaf. Yes, deaf. This is a disability that I really wanted to make a video for a while now. I just was kind of afraid, shy to make a video about this. Very personal. I don't really like to talk about this stuff a lot, but I'm much older now. I wanted to share my story on how I got the disability, but I would talk about it fully as a whole, but I have a little bit of knowledge about it. My mom is much more knowledgeable on how I got it and what I had to face through and everything, so she's gonna be talking for a while in this video. So yeah, here's my mom about my story of how I got hard of hearing.
Hi, I'm Mark's mom. My name's Carrie. Mark asked me to say a few words about his disability. Mark, when I was pregnant with Mark, I found out that I was going to give birth early. And instead of having a 40-week pregnancy, Mark and his twin sister Jessica came out at 27 weeks. She weighed 1 pound 13 ounces, and Mark weighed 1 pound 11 ounces. If you go to the grocery store and look at a packet of chicken, basically that's how tiny Mark was. It was pretty scary when he was born and when his sister was born, but I'm just going to talk about him because he has a disability. Thank God Jessica does not. But it was pretty scary. I remember giving birth in the delivery room and hearing this sound. I thought there was a mouse in the hospital, but they said that that was my son crying. So that's how tiny he was. And he was so tiny that his father could take his wedding ring, which is just a tiny bit bigger than this. Let's see if you can see that. And put it all the way up his arm. The only thing stopping him was the shoulder. His father's not a huge man. So, yeah, it's pretty shocking. Anyway, Mark was in the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit in a hospital in Manhattan. He was born May 11th, but shouldn't have been born until August, around the middle of August. So he was 3 months early. When he was born, we didn't name him because we were a little scared. We didn't name his sister either, but again, I'm talking about him. We were afraid to make him real. And they called him Pinner A because he came out first. His head was down and he was pushing on my cervix and wanted to come out. He's still impatient to this day. Anyway, he came out, and while he was in the ICU, the NICU, he developed an infection in his intestines. And that infection is called NEC, necrotizing enterocolitis. And what happens is when you're born that premature, you don't really have an immune system fully developed yet. So it's very easy for you to get illnesses. And sure enough, Mark got one. They told me that if they don't cure it, his intestines could perforate or puncture and he could die. So of course I said, do whatever you have to do. Now they gave him medicine through an IV, but this medicine, I found out later, was ototoxic, which means toxic to the ears or bad for the ears. Mark was eventually getting healthier and healthier. He overcame a lot of obstacles in the NICU. And it was pretty scary. I mean, if I had more time and could provide you with a lengthier video, boy, I have to tell you what I went through when I was there and what he went through, more importantly. But he eventually came home in the middle of August, right around his due date. He did develop a horrible cough, which turned out to be reflux disease, but we were able to cure that. He came home after his sister, and after he came home, he was back in the hospital again with another near-death experience, but that one had nothing to do with his disability. The ototoxic medicines is what caused his disability. He is hearing impaired in his right ear and wears a hearing aid, and he's deaf in his left ear and wears a cochlear implant. Now, Mark is now almost 29. He hasn't worn his cochlear implant in a few years, because even though he wore it a lot growing up, because I insisted, because I wanted him to have full access to sound and speech, he hasn't worn it for a few years by choice. He's a grown adult. I can't say anything. Because he said that when he wears it, people treat him differently, and he's sick and tired of being treated as if he's ignorant or, pardon the expression, stupid. He's not. And he knows people don't mean anything by it, but that's how they treat him. So he chooses not to wear it, at least the last couple of years. He will wear the hearing aid, though, because it goes in the ear, so you can't really see it. Yeah, so that ototoxic medicine caused him to be hearing impaired in his right ear, deaf in his left. It also caused a speech impediment. We found out that he had this disability a few months after he came home from the NICU, when we went back to the hospital for what they call a BAER test, B-A-E-R. I don't remember what that stands for. But yeah, that's when it was conclusive that he definitely had a hearing issue. After years of getting him fitted with the right hearing aids and the right speech and language pathologist and getting him an auditory verbal therapist and making sure he had accommodations at school and making sure he took those accommodations into college so that he'd know what he could use and when, after helping him navigate the world and learning how to do my own speech therapy, among other things, Mark has become a young man that I'm very proud of. I told him I named him Mark because it's a strong name, and I still believe that to this day, and he is a strong man. He's not a little boy anymore. But I do remember the little boy, and I remember everything he went through. And for anyone who has any kind of disability, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, psychological, anything, God bless you. Because you know what? It's not easy being a human, especially nowadays. And it's certainly not easy being a human with a disability. So please, show them grace to each other, whether you have a disability or not. And if you do have a disability, if you encounter somebody who does, please ask how you can be of help. And definitely accept them. Accept them the way they are. Because you know what? You're not perfect either. None of us are perfect. But then again, my son is perfect in my eyes, in every way, shape, and form. And I told him when he was little, and I will tell him now, he has the most beautiful ears in the world. Thanks. I'm really proud of him. Take care.
So yeah, guys, that is the video. I want to thank my mom for helping me make this video, explain to everyone about my disability. I appreciate you for doing this. But yeah, guys, I felt like this really lifted the weight off my shoulder. I'm very personal when it comes to this about myself. I don't like talking about my disability to a lot of people because I get looked differently and all this other stuff. But hey, we're grown. If you do not like me and who I am as a person, then just get out of my face, whatever you want to say it. Yeah, so I'm gonna be talking more stuff about my disability, the good, the bad, the etc., everything, even the stuff I have in my ears. I want to show you that as well. If you watch this whole video, I appreciate you for tuning in, and yeah, see you guys in the video.